Hey everyone, this is Father Sean here, and I'm here to answer some questions. So over the past week or two, registrations for all of our youth programs for the upcoming fall, upcoming winter, and spring have gone out. Asked people to register for different things and for your children, and they've come back with a lot of questions. Why is this different? What are we doing here? I wish we would have done that. I used to like it this way, all of those sorts of things. And so basically, this is hopefully an explanation as to what and why. What things are changing, which hopefully you got in the different letters, and why they're changing. So, just to remember that our four parishes are coming from different places. You know, different high school programs have existed at different places. Even what's been considered junior high has differed at different parishes. So we're trying to get things a bit more centralized, a bit more unified, and hopefully get some clarity. So hopefully this answers some of the questions. Maybe it creates more questions, but gives us an opportunity to just kind of talk through some things. So one of the things that has been different is for our high schoolers. So the high schoolers, especially at St. Lawrence and Immaculate Conception, things were a little different last year. We did a large group thing. It wasn't really Life Team. It was kind of like that. It was like let's just get something for the year for our youth. But before that, you remember that our high schoolers got to pick the classes. So basically every year there would be a list of all of the classes available, and they had to select X number of classes. So you could talk to your friends, get to see what interests you, and all of those sorts of things. And it was fairly well liked. You know, a lot of people really enjoyed it. But one of the things I noticed early on when I was here is we lost a spine. Right there in any curriculum, there are core classes that people take. Right in college, there are general education classes that every single person has to take. So in our own high school programs, we realized, like, oh my gosh, there are certain things that people just might not be interested in, so they're might not taking. And you could say, well, maybe they did that up through 8th grade. But to hit those again in high school. So that's one of the reasons for going for a change, to see like there's certain things that we just want to share with our young people. And the other thing for changing to a more a different model is that our growth as saints is more than intellectual. Of course, the catechesis is incredibly important. To have good, Catholic, authentic truth, that catechesis is so vitally important. But it can just become knowledge, right? The best catechized being is the devil, right? The devil knows everything that's in the catechism, forward and backward. So for us, being a saint is more than just having that head knowledge. Being a saint is actually living it. And so we're using the Life Team program now to hopefully form the entire person into Christ and into becoming a saint. So that'll be catechesis. There'll be catechesis every single night. But there's also friendship, because we all grow as saints together. We all grow into Christ together. So there'll be encouragement. There'll be stupid games. But ultimately, that's for a purpose of forming a community to help each other become saints. And there'll be opportunities of prayer, whether that's Eucharistic adoration, whether that's praying the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and opportunities of service, right? You know, the group's going to go here to this nursing home or clean up the trash at this place to stay. So the goal is to have a holistic approach to forming our high schoolers to become saints. So that's basically the change, is from a purely picking your class model, and that might be an oversimplification, overgeneralization, to let's try to form the entire person through a community, through prayer, through catechesis, so that our youth, our young people can become saints. That's change number one. Change number two is one that we announced a few months back about confirmation age. So as we had that discussion, what age is going to be the age of confirmation, because our four parishes were kind of all over the board. Let's get it at the same age, and we landed on 10th grade. Great. We got a little bit of feedback, but overall it's pretty well accepted and kind of made sense, I think. Maybe not. But the formation for confirmation is going to be a 2-year program. It's going to be spread out over 2 years, right? Confirmation is so important. It's the outpouring of the Holy Spirit upon these young people. And so we're going to spread things out, right? Sometimes it's boom, 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 classes leading right up to the confirmation. But let's spread it out. Let's keep confirmation on your minds for 2 years, praying for the Holy Spirit to pour out his gifts upon you, to have that time to discern who's going to be my confirmation saint, right? Like, don't make that as quick as I made that decision. And that's a whole story in and of itself. Who's going to be my sponsor, right? To take the time to really discern, to see where the Lord is acting in your lives. And so that's why it's going to be a 2-year process. There'll be retreats, there'll be all sorts of different things, but we're going to elongate it just to make sure that we're given as best formation as possible to our young people. So there's a meeting that for St. Lawrence and IC 9th and 10th graders about confirmation. So I believe it's in September, so take a peek for that. And then the last change is CCD at St. Lawrence. So in the registration, people saw that all K through 5 CCD for IC and St. Lawrence will be at IC, and all 6 through 8 will be at St. Lawrence. In the past, St. Lawrence had their own for children, K through 5. And basically the reason for that was when CCD ended last year, we had one of the catechists informed us that they wouldn't be coming back next year. Didn't hear anything else. And then in the end of July, or maybe it was mid-July, as we were kind of preparing, the other catechist said, well, we've got family things going, perfectly understandable. And so they were stepping away. So we were left with no catechists at St. Lawrence. So we made some phone calls to try to figure out, is there somebody willing to step up? And then we had amnesia to realize this was the same exact thing that happened last year. Last year, there was still one catechist that was left, and so we had to fill in all the other ones kind of last minute. People stepped up. Very grateful for that. But the question is, can we keep doing this every single year, that we have to ask for more catechists at the last minute? One, that's not fair to the catechists, because they feel like pressure to say, like, if you don't do this, then St. Lawrence CCD is going to be moved. Like, that's a whole lot of pressure to put on somebody, and to not give the proper preparation to say, like, look, if you're going to be a catechist, it's such an important role to share the faith with our young people. So not to be able to, it's kind of like a hodgepodge. And if we have to hodgepodge this every year, it's not really great for our young people, right? That's really who suffers in all of this. If people just kind of hodgepodge just because we want to have it in a particular location, it's our young people that suffer because there's not consistency in the program. Our catechists just kind of come and go. And so if we can kind of simplify things and put the children at IC, because there's more grades, more space, and the junior high at St. Lawrence, that combines all of our resources, and catechists can, if you're a IC parishioner and you feel called to teach junior high, you can go out to St. Lawrence. Vice versa, if you're a St. Lawrence parishioner, you feel called to help with the first communion, first reconciliation in the second grade, you can go to IC. So hopefully that'll be a good thing ultimately for our young people, right? That's who we want to focus on, our young people, and how they can best be formed, how they can best be catechized. And that's the point of all of this, right? The point of any program, any formation, is that young people and their families can come alive in Jesus Christ. And that's ultimately the goal. And sometimes if things are spread so thin, or things are only based on intellectual formation, or even if confirmation just becomes a check mark, right? That doesn't do any service for anybody, right? Because we have this pearl of great price, this great treasure of our Catholic faith. And we want to share that with everybody. Right? We found something here that's worth giving our lives for, surrendering our entire future into Christ's hands. And so our goal with all of this is to have something great to offer our youth, great formation, great programs. And of course, they're always a work in progress. There's always things that fall through the cracks. So thanks for your patience. Hopefully this provides just a little bit of clarity. And we look forward to seeing you in the fall as we help our young people and their families be formed as saints.